Hello, this is James Helm of Helm Enterprises Forging Division, standing in front of the world headquarters a few miles south of San Antonio, Texas. Hadn't done a video in a while. I thought I would share a little bit of a direction that's a bit new for me. I have been doing a lot of cord wrapped handles in the past, and now I'm playing more with slab handles. In this case, this is a new model for me. I haven't really been doing models. Each one's just been different, but I've started to have a few standardized models. This one is my Benghazi Warfighter. The term that I use for a knife that's built for military use is a warfighter knife. This pattern came about as an evolution of a knife that I made over a year ago for an airman to take on his SERE training. When the attack occurred on our embassy in Benghazi, Libya, and I found out about it, not only the attack that happened, but our lack of response to it, it angered me, and the only thing I could really do to contribute was build some knives to donate to some of our warfighters that were going to be going into harm's way. So I contacted a fellow I know in the Marines and said, can you get me in contact with 5 or 6 guys who are going to be stationed in a place that will put them in harm's way? He said, yeah, I will. And so I made 6 of this pattern. And my friend Tobin Nieto, who is filming me right now, of Stonehaven Knife Works, also in San Antonio, Texas, built one as well to donate of a different pattern that he calls the War Tusk, and we donated them. So this is, like I said, a design developed for SERE training for an Air Force guy, and is also carried by Marines. Like I was saying, my term warfighter knife is one that is built for military usage, and therefore I make it a little more on the heavy side. I'd rather it be strong and not fail under hard use than necessarily make it as light and fast as the typical ones I do. You can see that the tang is a full 1/4 inch. There is a distal taper from the handle to the tip, but it stays pretty thick the whole way down. Like all my blades, it is a full flat bevel with a secondary edge. So my experience tells me that this does pretty much every kind of cutting I need to do. You can shave hair and chop through oak wood with the same edge. The handle on this is black micarta. It has flared stainless steel tubing rivets and epoxy, of course. You're going to break your bones before you ever knock these handles loose. This is very strong handle construction. Also means that you have 3 different locations to attach a lanyard or wrap it if you want a little fatter grip, or if you, for whatever reason, feel like making a spear out of your knife. Personally, in a survival situation, it would make more sense to me to make a rabbit stick and save your tool than make a spear. You're more likely to take small game than you are big game. But if you wanted to, you have 3 attachment points to make a spearhead. Okay, talk about dimensions a little bit. Like I said, the spine is a full 1/4 inch thick. The overall length on this is about 11 3/8. The blade is about 6.5 inches. The balance point is right at the blade handle transition. Keeps it kind of lively. But if you choke up down here on the end, get a pretty good chopping motion with it, which we'll show later on. And of course, it is hair shaving sharp. A lot of military knives have at least a single guard, if not a double guard, to help keep your hand from sliding up onto the blade. I was a little bit concerned with the first batch of Benghazi Warfighters I made because I don't have that. I have a big choil here. So I tested it out on washing machine here. If I stab, how well does it do to keep my hand from sliding up onto the blade? Well, the answer is that with this blade shape, or excuse me, this handle shape, and the finger notch here, it's actually very rock solid in the hand. So this should do no damage to the tip. The edge may need touched up right there where it hits the steel, but it shouldn't really damage the tip, and my hand will stay right where it is on the handle when I stab. So there we go. This is a clothes dryer. It's fairly thick sheet metal. I'm not expecting it to necessarily go in all that deep with the metal as thick as it is, but it will give the tip a good workout. And if I'm not right in my statement about the handle keeping your hand solid in place, then I'm going to lose a finger. So this is putting my faith in my work. So not a death grip, just a normal tight grip. And here we go. Okay. I got a little paint on my knife. That's it, no damage. Okay, sheath is Kydex, molded around the blade while hot. It's a nice tight fit. It doesn't shake loose at all. You can see how vigorously I'm shaking it. It's not moving at all. The blade's been oiled too, so there's oil between the blade and the Kydex, and it's not moving. But when it comes time to pull it out and use it, it pops out easily. Good Kydex sheath should do that. Should hold it tightly so it doesn't fall out, but it should pull quick and easily. Especially if you use your thumb to help push off as you do so. That's one reason why I make these little rounded sections on my sheaths. It means there's no sharp corners to dig into anything, but it also gives you a nice little spot to pop with your thumb. I just got this together. It'll get a tech lock that's MOLLE compatible. You can adjust the size. You can use it horizontally or vertically. Any one of these holes is space to use to attach the tech lock. It's just a couple of Chicago screws with a Phillips head. So 5 minutes and you can arrange it into all kinds of different carrying configurations. A couple different color schemes here. We got the black one that I've been talking about. This particular one is more desert camo. You've got the coyote brown Kydex. This is natural canvas micarta. And this is a double edge configuration. That edge will also shave hair pretty nicely. This particular one is actually going to a Navy SEAL. He's become my best customer. And he didn't have a good mid-size fixed blade to carry with him. So he wanted one of these and he wanted it double-edged, which brings me talking about the handle again, because it's nice and solid in a regular grip. You can catch the butt end to extend your grip for chopping. It also works very nicely in a reverse grip. That little finger notch up front catches in your pinky very well. You can anchor with your thumb, makes a good reverse grip. And with a double edge configuration like that, it works well for pical techniques. It's a bit large for a pical knife. Most of them are 2, 3, 4 inches long, but the same techniques can pretty much apply for this. In addition, a lot of pical knives are single edged. They're single edged on the back side. With this, you've got forward attacking motions as well as reverse pull motions. So pical techniques apply well as any other reverse grip fighting techniques. And then just normal utility and blade forward design, blade forward fighting techniques. So pretty versatile depending on how you want to use it. Okay, I'm building a batch of these for an upcoming knife show up in Dallas. in April 13th, 14th. It's the Texas Lone Star Knife Expo. These are just the first two I finished. The one for the seal is a commission, so it'll go off in the mail this week. The rest of them will be going to the show with me. Since I just finished this is the first one of the batch that's finished. This is the first cutting it's done other than me stabbing the clothes dryer a few moments ago. So, we'll see how it does. You just saw me shave hair off my arm with it. So a little bit of fine cutting. Okay, a little good chopping. See how deep it's biting? This isn't really balanced as a chopper either. It's balanced between the blade and the handle. If it's a chopper, you're going to balance it a little bit blade heavy. So right down, this is more of a general utility knife. General utility balance, combat balance. And you see how deep it's chopping in. I'm also not really cutting with proper technique. If you're really aggressive about your chopping, you're going to come in from one side and then you're going to come in from the other and blast the chips out. I'm just chopping from one side right now, but you see how few chops it took to dig halfway through this 2x4 here. So, like I was saying earlier, the same edge shaves hair and chops wood very well. I'm a big fan of the full flat grind with a secondary bevel. Works very nicely. Some people, especially those that are stock removal guys, knife makers, like to get a little grinder happy, and they'll put, I've seen I think up to 5 different grinds on the same blade. More power to them if they want to do it that way, but as far as practical application goes, what I have found is that this method of construction does a wide variety of cutting well.
I'll make a feather stick.
So what do you think? Would you rather have this or a 4-inch Mora?
What's a Mora?
You know, the Scandinavian knives.
Oh. Well, your viewers can ask their wives that. I think that's good.
Okay, we have not touched up the edge. We just got through doing that chopping. You can still see the gunk from the wood on it. Haven't touched up the edge yet. Let's see how it does. Not quite as cleanly as it was a while ago, but it's still shaving hair pretty good. Talk about the steel a little bit. This is 5160 spring steel, same stuff that car springs tend to be made out of. It's a very good, tough steel. Heat treats well with a simple heat treatment. You get good performance out of it. I've had a customer recently tell me about processing out 3 feral hogs with one blade without having to resharpen. I think he said something to the effect it was as sharp as when he started. So, even though it's a real tough steel, it's also a good edge holder. and it's easy to bring back to a shaving sharp edge after you've used it. Some of the higher end steels, yeah, they'll hold an edge a long time, but they're very abrasion resistant. Good luck getting an edge back on it. You have to work at it. 5160, if you don't let it go too far before you touch up the edge, it'll take longer to set up your stone and your wet rock. Excuse me, your wet rock and your strop to get it back shaving sharp than it does to actually bring it to that point again. And to sharpen these, I do just like I did in my 3-part sharpening video that I have up on YouTube, except I now use a small belt grinder with a fine belt to establish the secondary bevel instead of doing it all on a stone. But then I hand hone and hand strop on the same piece of leather that I had in that video 2 years ago at this point, I think it was. So, a little bit different direction for me. I'm gearing more and more towards the tactical side of things, but not your typical tactical knife. This is very straightforward, basic, practical, with a very good balance between a utility blade and a combat blade. So, thank you.
Alright.
So I was just sitting here chit-chatting with Tobin a little bit after we got through shooting the rest of the video, and I was just absent-mindedly whittling. After chopping, after shaving hair, you know, all that. We didn't give it too hard of a workout, but you know, enough to show what it can do. Just absent-mindedly sitting here talking, and I whittled this rather sharp little point on this scrap piece of wood, and just thought I would show that even though it's a big beefy knife, you're able to do some fairly fine work. See that shaving I just got off? So you're able to do some fairly fine work even though it's a large knife. So all you people out there that get worried about other people's knives being big when they go out into the woods, oh, you're not using a 4-inch blade, you don't know what you're doing. You can do fine work with a large knife.
And good geometry.
And good edge geometry. This is a 6.5-inch blade. It's not overly large. 4 inches as the limit on your knife sure does limit what you're able to do with it. You can do small stuff well. As you can see with this one, we did small stuff and we did big stuff. Till next time, this is James Helm. I'll see you later.
Yeah, there it is. Miniature tent peg.